Hi, this is Michael Ware with MusicWarePress.com. I'm a composer, music producer, and church musician. You may have seen some of my videos on YouTube, or you might have visited my website and heard some of my choral and piano arrangements. I'm starting a new video series called MusicWare Press Gear Review, where I'm reviewing some of the music tech that I use in my home studio. And today I'll be reviewing the Yamaha DGX 660 digital piano. In the interest of full disclosure, I want to let you know that I paid for this piano with my own funds and that no one is paying for this review and no one has reviewed the content of this video before it was posted. Let's get into some tech specs. This is an 88 key graded hammer standard action. That's what Yamaha uses as a marketing term for the action. We'll talk about that more later. It has about a 4-inch non-touchscreen monochrome blue and white display. It has 192 notes of polyphony. That's the number of sounds that can be sustained at the same time. You may think, I only have 10 fingers, why do I need 192 notes of polyphony? Well, when you start layering sounds and tracks and rhythms, you can use those sounds all at the same time. So that's something that's useful and something that was an upgrade from the previous version. It has 554 voices. Some of them are better than others. We'll talk about that too. It has 205 built-in styles. Those are the Yamaha designed backing styles that you can groove with. That's a lot of fun. And it has two 6-watt amps that power the onboard speakers. As far as construction, I believe this keyboard is very sturdily constructed, although you should know that some of it, especially on the control area here, is plastic, so you need to be careful with it, especially when you move it. This keyboard goes for about $800 on Amazon. You might be able to find some bundles where you could get some accessories included for approximately the same price, but the standard bundle includes the keyboard itself, the matching stand, the power supply, a music rest that you can put here for your music, that's convenient, as well as a foot switch style sustain pedal. I'm not a big fan of that sustain pedal. I really would recommend finding a piano style sustain pedal, or you could get the Yamaha LP7A 3-pedal unit. This pedal unit duplicates the function of the 3 pedals on an acoustic grand piano. Let's talk about the ports and connectors on here. You have your power connector, and with the included power cord, you have a mic input, 1/4-inch mic input, as well as the volume for this mic input. There's some on-screen controls for that as well, but you do have this physical knob. An 1/8-inch auxiliary input. You could plug your phone into it and play audio, backing tracks or something. You have the main output, which is headphones/output. There's kind of a limitation there with having one output that we'll talk about later. The connector for the 3-pedal unit accessory, a standard sustain pedal connector, a USB-B to host connector for connecting to your computer to use with your software, and the on-screen contrast control. On the top you have a USB-A to device port where you could plug in an external hard drive or a flash drive and record MIDI or audio. That's a feature that I really like. As far as other controls, it does have a pitch bend wheel, power, master volume. As far as the functionality and navigation of this keyboard, it uses the scroll wheel, the category left and right buttons, as well as the number pad and the plus and minus. This is something that Yamaha really hasn't changed in their DGX series in a long time. There are other keyboards that really have more advanced navigation, like the Casio Privia PX 360 has a color touchscreen and probably better navigation, and I would expect at some point Yamaha to upgrade that. But for now, this is what they have to offer. The navigation is just a little bit clunky. But the two most important features for a digital piano like this, in my opinion, are the action of the keyboard and the default piano sound. And I think that is where this keyboard really shines. Again, Yamaha calls this graded hammer standard action. And that means that it will be heavier feeling in the bass and lighter in the treble. Obviously not just in sound, but in how the action feels. I'm very pleased with the action on this piano. I think it does very well and is better than other keyboards and pianos in this price range. It's not the action of a clavinova with wooden keys or some of Yamaha's stage pianos, but it really does very well. If you happen to go to your local music store or guitar center and play some of the other keyboards in this price range, I think you'll be disappointed with what you feel with their action. The other thing that I think is very important on a piano like this is the quality of the main piano sample. And this is something where I think this keyboard does very well. It's an updated sample of the Yamaha CF3S, their flagship concert grand 9-foot piano. I want you to hear some of what this piano sounds like. How about a little Mozart? Or how about something else? Or how about something a little bit lighter? Those last two samples are excerpts from some of my piano arrangements, All Creatures of Our God and King and Still, Still, Still from musicwarepress.com. I want to show you a great new feature that this keyboard has. It's the piano room. You can press the piano room button and you can put your piano in different environments. Here you see a concert hall or a recital hall, stage, room, or off. And then you have the option of a few different pianos: grand piano, pop grand is a little bit brighter, warm grand, and honky tonk. And then you have lid position, full, half, or closed. And this allows for some different sounds that you can create. I really like this. Here's in the concert hall, but with a closed lid. Here it is, open. I really like the piano room. There's some other features here, tuning, damper resonance, and recording as well. We'll get into the recording just a little bit later. I want to talk about some features that will probably be familiar to you if you've used a Yamaha keyboard before. You have dual voices. You can add a voice here, strings with the piano sound. You can also split the keyboard, have, say, bass in the bottom. You have control over which sounds you want to be layered and split and where the split is. You even have control over some of the parameters like pan, chorus, reverb, those type things. And it's customizable. You can save them into your registration memory. You also have tap tempo and can use all those fun styles. Those are so much fun, and those are nothing new to anyone who has used Yamaha keyboards before. A couple of new features that you might want to know about. You can play just piano kind of in a certain style, and it can do a style recommendation for a groove that might fit. I think that's kind of gimmicky, but it might be useful to some people. It also has a mic input where you can sing on the microphone. I see that being used more at home. I don't think it would work very well for a live performance situation, and having someone with your sound system not have control over the mic. That doesn't make much sense to me, but it's still a fun feature. But I really like the audio recording feature in this keyboard. There are a couple different ways to do it, but I'll show you in the piano room. So I'm going to hit the piano room button again. Here is a flash drive that I'm going to insert. I'll choose my piano. I want the concert grand in the recital hall with the lid halfway. And I'm going to hit the right button twice over to record, and then I can hit this record button and it'll start recording a WAV file on the flash drive. When you're done, you can press stop. That was Deck the Halls from my 5 Christmas miniatures, another piece that's available at musicwarepress.com. When it's done saving, you can take out the flash drive. It has saved a WAV file on the flash drive. You can put that in your computer and you can edit it in your digital audio workstation. You can play it in iTunes, or you could burn a CD if anyone does that anymore. But this is a great feature of this keyboard, and one that I use in making my piano videos. I like the fact that I can do it all on the keyboard. I don't have to have the computer hooked up to it. So I can move the keyboard to where I have my camera set up and record the audio directly on that flash drive for my piano videos. That's a feature that I really like about this keyboard. I mentioned the 554 voices earlier, and I said that some of them are better than others, and that I really like the default piano sound. I think this keyboard does well at keyboard, electric piano sounds, and some string sounds. I want to give you a sample of those. We've heard the natural grand. There's one called ambient grand that I really like. Just a little bit of delay built in there. I like that sound. It also does well with some electric pianos. It has some decent organ sounds, but they're not very customizable. Some synthesizers and clavinovas have the ability to really customize those sounds. These aren't bad, they're just not very customizable. Some of the other sounds I like are the ensemble string sounds. Here's what's called live strings. It's a very slow to develop string sound. there's also live allegro strings. I like those. It also has some decent percussion sounds. Let me find percussion. How about marimba? That's okay. And it has some good drum kit sounds, especially in the way that those are used in the styles that are built in by Yamaha. Many of the sounds, as I said, are not very customizable. That's kind of what I think about some of the synth and lead sounds. It's okay, but you can't do much with it. And as far as the really awful sounds, the solo orchestral instruments just are not very good. So much vibrato. That just doesn't sound realistic. Here is, let me find a trumpet sound. Again, so much vibrato, not very natural. How about sax or clarinet? Here's clarinet. Again, a lot of vibrato. The strings have the same problem. If I were to play a solo violin, it would not be very good. Again, that's a low G. That's an open string on violin. There's no way to have vibrato there, but it has a whole lot of it. Cello has exactly the same problem. When you play a low C, it would be open, but it has a ton of vibrato. So the solo orchestral instruments just are not very good. I would not recommend using these sounds with your notation software to make mock-ups of orchestral compositions. I would look to the samples that come with Finale or Sibelius, or if you want to get really fancy, use something like Note Performer. So, what are the use cases for this keyboard? There are different things that people might ask about. Is this the right keyboard for a beginning piano student? Now that opens a whole can of worms. Some teachers allow their students to start on digital instruments and some insist on acoustic instruments. I think there are advantages and disadvantages either way, but I think this is kind of the minimum of what you would want for a digital piano for a piano student, in that this has 88 keys, weighted action. It has an included stand that puts it at the right height, and you can put a music stand on it. And it has a good piano sound that can be very expressive. I think, oh, that's a good thing. I definitely would recommend finding a piano-style sustain pedal or getting that 3-pedal unit accessory. I think that would be an important thing for a piano student. For a piano student that progresses and is playing more classical type literature, this isn't going to get them very far. But for someone who enjoys improv and grooving with the band, I think this is perfect. I think that type student will really like this instrument. Another use case, is this right for your home studio? Well, maybe, depending on your needs. I really like using it in mine. I like using it with the notation software. I like having the full keyboard and not trying to input notes on a short keyboard. It's more inspiring when writing piano music and piano accompaniments. I really like it for that purpose. And its USB connector plugs right into my Mac, and I don't need to download a driver. The software instantly recognizes it. And I really like that. I like the recording feature and how I can record some of my piano music on it, just straight to the flash drive with the audio files. Now, anytime I need to do anything more complicated, I have to go to my digital audio workstation. It's not a replacement for that. Its sequencer is not very advanced, but I really like the piano sound, and the piano sound is much better than the default piano sounds from Logic or GarageBand. So I like it in my studio, but at the same time, I realize it's not the right thing for everyone. And maybe the last use case, is it right for live performance? And again, that depends. And you might be thinking, is it right to gig with my band with this instrument, or maybe in a school production sort of thing, or in a church worship service? I think if you're looking to gig with your band, you don't have very customizable sounds here as far as what you might want to create synth-wise, so that may not be the right option for you. In a school situation, if you're trying to replace the sound and function of an acoustic piano, I think it might work for you. Say you were doing a function outside or in the gym, something like that, and maybe you needed your accompanist to accompany your choir. I think they would be happy with this for this situation, with the good action and the good piano sound. You can hook it up to your sound system, and it works well for that. It does have the one output that we'll talk about in a minute and how to hook it up to your sound system, but I think it could work very well for that. It could also work well in using it in church. Again, if you're using piano, keyboard sounds, and string sounds, I think it's good. If you're trying to do more customized sounds, I don't think it works as well for that. About hooking it up to your sound system, it has 1/4 inch output jack that is meant for headphones or hooking up to a sound system. And the default way it works is when you have something plugged in there, it thinks you're using headphones and it cuts off the internal speakers so you could practice in privacy without bothering everyone. Well, that's not what you want when you have it hooked up to a sound system. Likely you would want those speakers to remain active. Yamaha has put that feature in this instrument, and I'll show you real quickly how to go there, where if you have it hooked up to your sound system, where you can turn your internal speakers on. You would press the function button, and you'll see at first it comes up, I think on style volume there, and you'd press category left twice, and you'd go to speaker control, and you change it from normal to always on. And that means that the speakers will turn on even when you have it hooked up to your sound system. I really like that because you don't have to get an additional monitor or use in-ear monitors that you can use the onboard speakers. The one thing I don't like is that you can't save that setting. Every time you power the keyboard on, you're going to have to go to that function and category and turn the speaker control to always on. You can't save it. That's the one thing I don't like about the way that that feature works. Well, that about does it for my review. This is definitely a product that I recommend if it fits your needs and your use case. In using the recording features and the piano sounds, I think it could be a great product for you. But again, if you're trying to do things that are more complicated on the computer with your digital audio workstation and with really creating customizable sounds, you might look at something in Yamaha's Motif or Montage series. Again, this is Michael Ware. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. MusicWare Press Gear Review is a production of MusicWarePress.com, the music of Michael Ware. There you will find sacred piano, choral, orchestral, and other instrumental music available for immediate download. I hope that these arrangements are a resource that can enhance your worship services. Please like and subscribe, and thanks again for watching. Hi, this is Michael Ware with MusicWarePress.com. I'm a composer, music producer, and church musician. You may have seen some of my videos on YouTube, or you might have visited my website and heard some of my choral and piano arrangements. I'm starting a new video series called MusicWare Press Gear Review, where I'm reviewing some of the music tech that I use in my home studio. And today I'll be reviewing the Yamaha DGX 660 digital piano. In the interest of full disclosure, I want to let you know that I paid for this piano with my own funds, and that no one is paying for this review, and no one has reviewed the content of this video before it was posted. Let's get into some tech specs. This is an 88 key graded hammer standard action. That's what Yamaha uses as a marketing term for the action. We'll talk about that more later. It has about a 4-inch non-touchscreen monochrome blue and white display. It has 192 notes of polyphony. That's the number of sounds that can be sustained at the same time. You may think, I only have 10 fingers, why do I need 192 notes of polyphony? Well, when you start layering sounds and tracks and rhythms, you can use those sounds all at the same time. So that's something that's useful and something that was an upgrade from the previous version. It has 554 voices. Some of them are better than others. We'll talk about that too. It has 205 built-in styles. Those are the Yamaha designed backing styles that you can groove with. That's a lot of fun. And it has two 6-watt amps that power the onboard speakers. As far as construction, I believe this keyboard is very sturdily constructed, although you should know that some of it, especially on the control area here, is plastic, so you need to be careful with it, especially when you move it. This keyboard goes for about $800 on Amazon. You might be able to find some bundles where you could get some accessories included for approximately the same